I had two dreams early this morning that were of the same subject matter. I was trying to expedite patients in a hospital. I was carrying someone in one scene, and in another scene, I was pushing their gurney, trying to get them to surgery. And I arrived at a door with this patient, and the medical personnel told me that it wasn't time yet for surgery, that would be in the morning. So in both these dreams, I was helping people that were already in the hospital but hadn't yet been seen by medical personnel. Now, during one dream, suddenly an animated caricature of Barack Obama showed up, and he laughed and said, "Guess who's back?" Also, in one dream, I left the hospital to go home and rest. I was walking a few paces behind this man, and I saw my house on the right, and I turned to go in. I didn't have my key for the house, so I was trying to use a pocket knife to pick the lock. The man suddenly came up to me, and I felt he would attack me, so I reached out to protect myself, but I only scratched him. At the same time, a man on a bicycle was riding up the road next to my house, right next to my house, so I was able to yell help a couple times, and he turned his head and heard me. And then a man in white showed up to help me. I also recall, still just giving you the facts of the dream, I recall being in a room at work with a sick coworker who was trying to help at work and do his job, but he was sitting on the floor in a corner. He was pretty sick. Also, there was another coworker that seemed to be sick, and this is what I recall from the two dreams. So I believe these dreams point to current day rather than during a harvest period or even the tribulation. And I say that because in these dreams, the surgery area wasn't open yet. So I believe that this kind of points to us helping the sick right now, the sick being the lukewarm and the lost people. They don't even recognize it, but our prayers for their future salvation will count because we are propelling them in various forms to be saved. Some of the people we're carrying, some we are even pushing. But until God is ready for the final cut, so to speak, these people are going to continue to be in waiting. And I hope that makes sense. As most of you know, I believe that when the 3 days of darkness hits, God will speak to everyone that has a soul. Perhaps it will be like a near-death experience. I'm not really sure about that, but I do know that God's Healer 7, she's had a couple interesting messages about this particular time, including one where she said that God will ask us a question and give us plenty of time to answer. Sorry. If we're in God's dimension when he does this, then we will certainly have as much time as we need, since there will be no time in this dimension. So these patients that we're helping right now, they will speak to God at that time. It'll be time for surgery. He will open their hearts and show them the truth. In the midst of all that happens in the coming months, I also believe that Barack Obama is going to come back into the limelight. I'm not sure in what capacity, because I don't believe he's going to be the president of the United States. It doesn't make logical sense to me that he does take that position, but rather I believe he's going to take one of even more importance. I continue to feel that he's not the Antichrist because he simply doesn't have the charisma to charm people, at least most of the people I know. But I do feel Obama will become some type of globally strong leader that assists the Antichrist with controlling the world. The animated caricature of him in my dream makes me think he is not genuine, which is no surprise to anybody. As for the attack in my dream, I think we're all under attack right now, spiritually, mentally, and physically, although the man was unable to harm me. The man on the bike, he may point to a messenger angel, one who passed on my cry of help during my dream. He was able to hear that. So then a man in white showed up, and I knew that man wasn't Jesus. And actually the white that he was wearing was not really angelic white. It was just kind of like a uniform or like chef's outfit or something like that. So I still feel, though, that he represents the divine angels that are sent to help us during this time. We can't see them, but they are there because God promised they would be. Now, Susan O'Mara had a recent vision about this and a message, and I'll post that in the description box below. You can read that. In pointing to a time that soon we will hear and see angels, and we are not to be afraid, but to recognize it. So these were my interpretations of these two dreams, and the parallel thought here is that we are helping right now to ensure our loved ones, our co-workers, our neighbors, all those that we pray for, our salvation, to ensure that by our prayers and actions. God hears that. Now finally, I wanted to take the second part of this video to talk about the coming earthquake that's going to split the United States. It is not part of my dream, but I got the video going and I might as well talk about it because the earthquake has been on my mind a lot based on what is happening with Trump recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And I tend to post this particular word from 278 Pike Lake at least once a month because it's critical. I feel there's a lot of information in it. It's from November 13th, 2012, and here's just a paragraph from that. A great earthquake is coming to your land. Your government will try to help, but will only be able to help a small number. No food, no water, no electricity will be commonplace, and to add insult to injury, it is going to be cold, freezing cold. Chaos describes the scene as the people fight for what is left, looting and stealing scraps of food for survival. The eventual suffering will be immeasurable. People will be rounded up like cattle and put into internment camps. There will be no toleration of any type of free speech as you know it in your once great nation. The location of this earthquake will surprise many. Even the experts will be perplexed as to how and why its devastation stretches so far. This will be a game changer for your once great nation. Okay, now I just want to add something from Warrior Princess that she got on December 13th, 2014, and that was, a great earthquake is upon you. It will strike suddenly and without warning and will hit California first and then New York City. There will be massive chaos as this happens. Now, Warrior Princess had a vision of snowflakes on her eyelashes when she got this word. I know where she lives, and she does not live in a place where it snows often. So this was kind of different. Now, here are the thoughts that I wanted to convey to you. These keep coming back to me. The first one is, we read in the first message, it will be, quote, cold, freezing cold. Okay, so in the United States, when this particular earthquake hits, it will be cold. Now, in my country here, it's coldest in January and February. So let's just leave that for a minute. The second thing is, quote, the location of this earthquake will surprise many, and they will be perplexed as to how and why its devastation stretches so far. Okay, so I don't think this is pointing to a new Madrid earthquake, but rather in a place that will surprise the experts. The new Madrid quake runs north to south, but the one that Warrior Princess speaks of is a line drawn from California to New York, spanning our entire country from west to east. I believe there'll be an earthquake down the New Madrid at one point, but that's not what's being discussed here. Finally, we are told that this earthquake that splits the country will be, quote, without warning. So if we have the New Madrid earthquake first, then it would not be as surprising, right? I mean, to have another earthquake after that. Plus, this one that goes from west to east will be considered a game changer. Now, I feel that if we had the New Madrid first, that would be the game changer, not this one that's coming. So I feel that this information still needs more research to see if in fact we will not receive any warning about the earthquake that splits the country. Like I said, if we have the New Madrid first, then the earthquake that runs west to east would not be a surprise. So I feel like that one will be the first one, and it will be the surprising one. Since we are, we also know that that earthquake will occur once Trump declares that Israel can be split. Since we are right in the time of the Jerusalem Declaration, perhaps Trump will make more peace-type treaty announcements in the coming weeks, leading up to and into January and February, our coldest months. I'm not really sure what kind of words Trump will use, but I feel that we will know that we know that we know. So let's continue to pray for those we love, because we're already helping their salvation in ways we do not know. And to watch for these cold fronts or cold snaps that come down from the north in the winter to the entire area of the United States. Those together with another Trump declaration will be something to watch for.